Ready to go? Cool. Well, thank you everyone for turning out tonight for Meet the Candidates session. My name's Tony Wright. I'm the CEO of the Limestone Coast Local Government Association. Born in Naracoorte, raised in Kingston and living in Mount Gambier at the moment. And my nephew has just started working in Bordertown, so very connected to the region. There's a couple of things I'll run through before we hear from the candidates. First of all, just want to congratulate the Tatiara community on fielding a rich field of candidates who have all turned out to speak tonight. It's really interesting. I've done a few of these, and some towns have struggled to get people to nominate for council, but you certainly haven't, so that's fantastic. Great that you've all turned out as well. The other observation I'd like to make is what a privilege it is to be here tonight, and what a privilege it is to be in Australia where we can actually vote, where we can actually have an election, where we can discuss issues and we can actually change power without pulling a gun. There's a lot of places around the world where you can't do that, and I think you all know what I'm talking about. So what a privilege it is to be here tonight to celebrate democracy. And then just a last observation, it really doesn't matter how much you agree or disagree on what people are saying tonight, and it really doesn't matter what your views are of different candidates and what they're saying. We all have one shared value, and that shared value is we care enough about our community to be here tonight, to vote, and to put yourself forward to represent your community. So that should be celebrated. I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional lands of the Potterwich people, pay my respects to leaders past, present and emerging, and extend my respect to all Indigenous peoples who may be with us here tonight. I just thought I'd also read out a couple of items from the South Australian Electoral Commission, and this relates to how people should present information. You should be accurate and not misleading in the information you present. It shouldn't contain offensive or obscene material. Shouldn't refer to another person who is nominated as a candidate for election. You shouldn't really comment on decisions or actions that have been made or taken by council, or on decisions or actions of past or present members of council, and that's straight from the South Australian Electoral Commission. In terms of tonight, we'll hear from each of the candidates. I'll invite them to the podium. Each candidate will have 5 minutes to talk. At the 4-minute 30-second mark, I'll go, just to give them an indicator there's only 30 seconds to go. At 5 minutes, I'll stand up, and I'll be standing up just over there. At 5 minutes 15, I'll walk over to the podium, and at 5 minutes 30, I'll reach across and turn off the microphone. I threatened everyone at Naracoorte with that, and I did get to walk to the podium once. So that's how we'll do it. The speakers will be in order as they were drawn and as they are on your voting papers. And because we've got so many candidates, we're going to hear from the presenters. There isn't an opportunity for questions, but there is an opportunity to meet with the candidates afterwards, and you'll be able to engage with them at that point in time. So our first speaker, I'd like you to welcome, so we'll hear from the two Merrill candidates, and our first speaker, I'd like to invite John Ross. Please make him feel welcome.
Right. Right. I want to ask a question.
Sure.
Naracoorte had more speakers than we have tonight, and they managed a Q&A session, which apparently was very successful. And I wonder why we can't ask questions tonight. We're electing our candidates, and I think we should be able to talk to them in an open forum about what they stand for.
Well, I'm not the decision maker here. I'm emceeing the process I've got in front of me. So you've made your point, but we've got a number of speakers to get through.
The second point I'd like to make is that we have a mayor who's still mayor of this district.
Sure.
For a couple of weeks ago, and I would have thought he was the appropriate person to lead this discussion tonight. And I'm very surprised that he's not up there running the show like you're going to. So,
Well, I'll do my best to run the show, and hopefully we'll get some really good presentations. And for our first presenter, I'd like you to invite John Ross. Thank you.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and could I congratulate you on coming out tonight and forsaking the pleasures of watching Jim Chalmers introduce his first budget, which I think is happening at the same time. So I hope that what we offer you might be a little bit more interesting. I welcome the opportunity to stand with other candidates and share what I believe will, from the collective opinions expressed tonight, influence electors in choosing who will make up the next council. I think we all have a dream like Dr. Martin Luther King. Our dream would enunciate many of his values and be focused on our belief that the great good fortune we share in living in the Tatiara district is acknowledged, that our decisions will be principled and reflect a collaborative approach in playing our part towards shaping the future our citizens aspire to. While the future has a habit of arriving, often before we're ready for it, it's important to take a longer-term view of the Council's infrastructure, our ability to respond to demands of population growth, our capacity to assist medical and healthcare services, our state of readiness to face cyber and biosecurity issues, all in a fiscally prudent manner. Having served on council in the past, I'm familiar with many of these issues as recurring challenges we face. However, in this instance, as a candidate for mayor, my perspective has to be broadened. Local government by its very nature is parochial, and while a mayor would be expected to be familiar with all the matters on council's agenda, parochial matters or self-interest need to be shelved in judging what is in the best interest of council. A mayor holds a privileged position and in the competitive world we live in, has to be a staunch advocate for our district. This will often entail being the first contact person with visiting dignitaries, be they state or federal politicians, representatives of industry groups, ethnic, religious and cultural groups. The Mayor has the additional role of encouraging councillors to feel comfortable in taking part in debate, in ensuring that an exchange of ideas and opinions are able to be freely expressed, and to foster a productive and professional relationship with staff members. I'm increasingly concerned, as I suspect many of you will have the same feeling, that as a nation we're sleepwalking into an uncertain future, fomented by the fear and zealotry that fuels panic-driven decisions about climate change. Let me say quite clearly that I do not deny that climate change exists. The extent to which it's anthropogenic, that is, caused by human beings, is not known. We are still waiting for a former Australian of the Year who told us that rainfall would diminish, and even the rain that falls would not fill our dams to apologise. In this year, when his erroneous prophecy that caused so much anguish is frankly awash. What we do know as country people is that the uncertainty about reliable access to electricity and fuel supplies, which are critical to our standard of living and means to agriculture and industry productivity, are hostage to virtue-signalling governments who would have us believe that indeed the king does have new clothes and they can see them, rather than committing to a reliable baseload power source. You may be surprised that I bring these matters to a meeting about local government. The reality is that ours is the level of government closest to the people we represent. We are the understory of democracy. And as Chip O'Neill, a former Speaker of the US Congress, stated, all politics is local. Quite simply, the interests of our residents need to be addressed to decision makers at all levels of government, unambiguously, respectfully and in a timely manner, which I'm qualified to do and would do. And when I speak of qualifications, in the past I've had the opportunity to chair council on 2 occasions. I've been, in respective terms, I've been the president of the South East Local Government Association, the State Local Government Association, and the Australian Local Government Association. If elected, I would hope to be seen as analogous with a cross-eyed javelin thrower, who might not be guaranteed to set any records, but the spectators felt that they needed to keep watching what was happening. You have before you an enthusiastic group of candidates with a common desire to make a positive contribution to the district. Please exercise your democratic right and vote.
Thanks, John. Hang on time. I'd like you to welcome Liz Goosens to the podium, please. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. I've welcomed the opportunity to nominate as Mayor. I've been on council for the last 9 years and Deputy for the last 2. This has given me a great insight into how council operate and the procedures. It's also given me the opportunity to work with different government departments, different levels of government. And I think it's been important to gain that knowledge and now have the opportunity to step up and nominate as Mayor. We've got very much a new council that's going to be coming forward, and I think having someone that has been on council, is aware of the issues that we're addressing at the moment, is important to help lead this group. I think the existing council have worked very well together. We've shown a lot of respect to one another, valued one another's views, and have achieved a lot. And some of the things that I think are highlights, we've done many things, but the fact that we have the growth of the industrial estate, both in Keith and in Bordertown. We've worked with the motorsports development where they've come to council, have looked to get funding. We've come up with some funding for them, grants, but really we listen to the community to help develop things like that. And the fact that we've bought the caravan park back and we were trying to address our housing issue, but I think all it's done is create more of an asset to our tourism people. So they're just some of the things we have achieved that I see as a highlight and shows how well we've worked together. I think the new council, we're going to certainly have some issues that will continue on, like housing. We're needing to work to protect our workforce, try to find housing for our people. We've also got childcare issues. So the fact that I have been on council, and I think that flow through of guidance will be an asset to us. I want you to know that I'm committed to doing 100% of my ability for the job of Mayor if elected. I think it shows in the fact that I was asked to go to tests quite some time ago to help out for 2 weeks, stayed 15 years and left as joint coordinator, and we were one of the leading disability services within Australia. Then along with my partner George, we took over the old Mandela Hotel, which was really just a shell at the time, turned it into a thriving business, which became a focus point for our town and an asset to our community. And it took a lot of work to create that. And then I was asked to go down to Padthaway, to the cellar door at Farmers Leap to manage that business. And again, we've taken that to a much higher level of thriving business. So I do understand the issues that people have when having businesses in the Tatiara. And it's also given me an opportunity to meet many people, to gain the experience to talk and hear and listen to what people have got to say. And that's an important role for the new council to continue doing, and I think we need to stay very much an open mind and be ready to lead into the new council with a lot of issues that we've got coming along. I want people to know that I believe that I'm going to represent the whole of the community, that I'm not just, even though I'm from Mandala, we are here to represent the whole community. We are the bridge between the community and council, and I think the elected members will certainly learn that role very closely. I just want to finish though by just reading to you that I have an enthusiastic vision for the future of the Tatiara and certainly would welcome the opportunity to serve as Mayor of the district. And I'm committed to ensuring that the Tatiara develops economically and socially within the bounds of sustainability. And please get out and vote. And I wish all the candidates the very best. Come in with an open mind, enjoy the challenge and enjoy the ride. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. Please welcome Natalie Moore to the podium, please.
Good evening to you all. My name is Natalie Moore and I have nominated to represent the people who live in the Tatiara. Before anything, I am a mother and a wife. A mother to two now adult boys who grew up in the Tatiara and attended the local school, played local sport and had after-school jobs. And I'm also wife to Jason, who was born and raised in the Tatiara. As a young girl, I would come and stay on the family farm in the Tatiara during the school holidays, and then moved here when I completed my schooling in the Adelaide Hills, for a short time before I moved away to start my family. 12 years ago, I moved back to Bordertown, where I began working at the local childcare centre. I then opened my own family daycare centre, but now work with my husband in our local business, Sport and More. I love being a part of this community and volunteering my time, and when I put my hand up to do something, I do it with an open mind, passion, enthusiasm and commitment, and I'm not shy to speak up if I feel something isn't right. I volunteer my time to several committees, including 2 council subcommittees, which are the Tatiara Economical Development Board, which was formed earlier this year, and Bordertown on the Move, in which I'm secretary of. I feel that these 2 committees have given me an insight into some of the larger issues that are facing our district and how we can better use our council processes to address those issues. In addition to those, I'm also secretary of Bordertown Spring Festival and Show, the Christmas Street Party, and I'm also part of the working committee for the Bordertown Adventure Playground. Not only am I very passionate about where our community is heading, but also preserving what has made the Tatiara what it is today. My vision is to see people stay in the district and getting involved with the community, to make our district a lifestyle destination, not just a stop along the way. I enjoy connecting with people, and I'm curious to understand and learn more about the needs and expectations of the people that live in the Tatiara. And not just Bordertown, that is not the start and the end of the district, but every town that is in this council district. I do not have any one item that is important to me. Instead, I want to represent and be a voice for the people, the ratepayers of the Tatiara. For me, it's about looking at all the information and facts, seeking community input and finding what is the greatest benefit to the community. Like anything in life, if the foundation isn't solid, then you can not successfully build on it. This election is your chance to build a solid foundation by voting who will best represent you, the ratepayer, the community member. So please make your vote count.
Thanks, Natalie. Please welcome Trevor Butler to the podium. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony. Mayor Exel, fellow candidates, ladies and gentlemen. I was born in Bordertown. I was schooled in Bordertown. I married a Mundalla girl. I lived and farmed just north of Wolseley. Currently, I work for a Keith-based company and I plan to retire in Bordertown. I live and breathe the Tatiara. Roads, rubbish and rates will continue to have major relevance to the deliberations of the new council. Our district roads need constant maintenance, not just filling in potholes, but strengthening and widening to handle the movement of larger, wider, higher and heavier farm machinery and trucks, now many hauling B-double trailers. Rubbish. With the ever-increasing costs to council, I believe the management and disposal of our district's waste and recycling needs to be revisited. The whole concept of trucking hundreds of tonnes of garbage 250 kilometres to dump in someone else's backyard does not seem to me a sustainable option. Rates? In the half dozen council districts members of my family live and pay rates, we in the Tatiara pay at the highest level. With the current explosion in property values, with little or no accompanying capacity to earn, I'm concerned what impact any associated rate rise would have on the district's farming businesses in particular. A property bought in 2022 for $5,000 an acre doesn't necessarily produce any more than one purchased for £10 an acre in 1960. While the 3 Rs will always be areas of focus, the national housing crisis, Bordertown's proposed medical centre and the next stage development of the district's industrial estates must also be prioritised. Council's plans to build 2 new houses on the old Tatiara trucks and trailers site in 7th Street, Bordertown, and the placing of several new single-person accommodation units at the Bordertown Caravan Park are to be commended. However, our towns are nearly full. There is a chronic lack of available vacant blocks. Development of appropriately positioned, serviced and affordable residential estates needs to be explored. The proposed Bordertown Medical Centre must be a priority. For several years we heard a lot of talk about this development, but suddenly everything seems to have been put on hold and covered in a shroud of secrecy. This secrecy seems to have led to a lot of gossip, innuendo and accusations of malpractice and corruption. I, like you, are only hearing one side of the story. While I understand the need for in-camera discussion, I do, however, question the need for ongoing secrecy that surrounds decisions. After all, these decisions affect us all, and it is the ratepayers' money Council is dealing with. I firmly believe in open discussion and deliberation. The next stage development of Bordertown's industrial estate in particular, and the effect it may have on Bordertown High School's Verco farm agriculture program is another area where misinformation is causing undue stress. Yes, the land was purchased by Council specifically for the establishment of the industrial estate, with a view for its expansion into the future, with the excess land being made available to the school for their agricultural program. I was a member of the original Tatiara Economic Development Committee at the commencement of these negotiations, and I see no issue with this. However, the idea of the school being asked to pay a portion of its Verco farm profits into council coffers seems to me a case of taking from Peter to pay Paul. If the school loses this income source, these funds must come from somewhere else within the community. I have a particular concern with the condition of town footpaths. Council policy of property owners maintaining their adjacent footpaths is clearly not working. I see kids walking to school on the roads because the footpaths are too rough, too overgrown, or parked up with old cars and junk. This policy needs to be readdressed. I now live on the district's best maintained 2 kilometres of road, with the district's best walking and cycling track in front of my house. The district owes me nothing. I'm here tonight to ask you to give me the opportunity to give back to the district as it has given to me. Vote 1, Trev. Thank you.
Thank you, Trevor. Please welcome Kenneth McInerney to the podium, please.
Thanks, Tony. Mayor Exel, current councillors, ladies and gentlemen. I come from a professional background, 40 years with the Commonwealth Bank and 30 years with the military. So I've had a lot of experience in leadership and also accountability. I arrived here in 1997 as the manager of the Commonwealth Bank, and it was intended to stay for 5 years to increase the opportunity for super, but unfortunately we fell in love with Bordertown, so we stayed. So we bought an old house, knocked it over, built a new house, and the rest is history. we're still trying to sort out a new house now. I served 3 terms as a councillor. I missed out in 1 term through quite a few newbies being elected, and unfortunately they didn't stay. So that posed a lot of pressure on the council. I was also the council's rep on the local hospital, and I'm sad to say that whilst we had a fantastic board and we certainly managed to meet our budget, the state government decided better and they got rid of all the boards in the state for a disastrous result in health. However, that was the way it all turned out. The one thing I'm very proud of that I've been able to achieve in the time that I've been here is the establishment of the Men's Shed, a fantastic venue, and it all came about from a gentleman, Ed Davis. I'm sure a lot of you will remember him. But they had a men's shed in the retirement village, but only for people living in the retirement village. So as a consequence, it really didn't work. So he came to see me one day. At the time I was president of the Rotary Club, and he said, "What can we do about it?" And I said, "Well, I think the best thing is we'll call a meeting of men and see if they want to establish a men's shed." And that's what happened. We called a meeting at the RSL. We had 40 people turn up, which was fantastic, and the rest is history. If you ever get a chance to have a look at the men's shed here in Bordertown, you would be very, very proud of what they've achieved, the machinery, etc., that they've got. Rotary, I've been involved in Rotary since I turned up here in Bordertown, and during my term I've been president 3 times, but the ultimate was the district governor of District 9780, which encompassed 6 South Australian clubs and 55 Victorian clubs. And we had the opportunity to have a conference here in Bordertown. We had 300 Rotarians from over the border, all over the place, so we were able to rip some of their money off them and put it into our economy. So that was a pretty good achievement. The other issue is I'm the president of the RSL and have been for most of the time that I've been here, simply on the basis that unfortunately members were getting older and either moving on or passing away, so we had to do something about it. And certainly I wanted to keep the building in our control, because in other areas they've managed to get, the state have got their hands on the property, sold it and put the money in their coffers. And we don't want that. We want a hall that is available for the community, and that's what we're trying to do. So the other thing is I've been a JP for 45 years and they've decided that I've got to apply for reappointment, which I took a bit of, found that a bit rude. You know, after 45 years, you reckon you might know what you're doing and you might get another opportunity. Anyway, I'm going through that at the moment. That's sort of the background. The main thing that I want to talk about is our issues in moving forward, because as you can see, we have a number of new candidates, which is fantastic, and it's the first time it's ever happened that we've had so many retirements. So there's going to be a lacking of experience and knowledge, and we've really got to address that as best we can. A couple of things that I believe, as far as the council is concerned, we need to be honest, we need to have integrity, and we need to be transparent. We need to make sure that the community we represent know what's going on. And I'm not particularly comfortable with the fact that we've been able to achieve that. It's been a good 4 years, there's no doubts about that, and I think we've achieved some significant benefits, but we just need to pick our game up a bit. The other issue is that we have documents in place, and one of those is the strategic plan. So moving forward, we need to review the strategic plan and also our long-term financial plan, because unfortunately it's just a fact of life. We've got to stay viable, and in doing that, we need to be the masters of our own destiny. So that's a big challenge. Health issues, certainly we've got issues within the district, and we need to support the local doctors in trying to encourage other doctors in coming to Bordertown. We've got a fantastic town. We need to get on the front foot and advertise the fact that that's the way it's to go. Well, I haven't heard the 4.5 yet.
Yeah, I reckon.
Did you? I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. All right. I'll finish up on the basis that I think that there's an opportunity out at the Speedway. We need to get behind, support the Speedway and the go-kart track and make it worthwhile, because they've got a national conference coming up national comp next year, and we certainly need to do that. And just to finish on one point, I think we need to really take into consideration when we vote the existing council members, because that's your experience and knowledge. So thank you.
Thanks, Kenneth. Please welcome Deb Downing to the podium, please.
Thank you, Tony. Good evening, everyone. I have lived in the Tatiara for over 35 years. And during this time, I've had a professional career in education, childcare, teaching and leadership. I've had a wide range of experience in planning, policy and procedures, including completing projects in a timely and financially responsible manner. Since retiring from my full-time career, I've enjoyed volunteering at and am currently a committee member of the Tatiara Work Centre. I'm the secretary of our local Women's and Children's Hospital Auxiliary Group, as well as spending time as a volunteer English teacher. I am married, I live locally, I have 2 adult children and I'm involved in our family farm. In our district, we face challenges including housing, education, childcare and health that we need to continue to address in a timely and strategic manner. We have business, both large and small, and high levels of employment. Current commodity prices and good seasonal conditions also contribute to a sense of optimism throughout our district. I enjoy meeting and communicating with people of all ages, listening to their views and facilitating positive outcomes. If elected to council, I would like to spend time meeting with individuals and groups, both formally and informally, to ensure that all voices are heard. Information and consultation ensures that decisions made are well informed, fair and reasonable, and reflective of community needs. The Tatiara district is a large area, therefore consultation needs to be held in a variety of locations throughout the entire district. I believe that we have great capacity as a district. I'm optimistic about the future of the Tatiara and am committed to development that is both financially and socially sustainable within our community. Finally, I would like to thank the Council for the opportunity to speak tonight and encourage you all to vote and be involved. Thank you.
Excuse me. Is there some way that the microphone volume can be adjusted? Because I'm sure we can
Okay.
hear.
So you can't hear, so we need to get a bit closer to the microphone?
Or the volume turned up.
Yeah. I'm not sure. We'll see if we can turn up the speaker, and then maybe perhaps if people adjust the mic a bit closer to the mouth, might help a bit too. Okay, so thanks, Deb. Please welcome Chris McAreath to the podium, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris McAreath. I was born in Gawler and married there. I was educated at the Gawler Primary and in Gawler High Schools, where I completed the commercial subjects. This instigated my love of shorthand and provided opportunities to be involved in the wide aspects of business. I consequently spent time in an accountant's office, real estate and a winery. Can you hear me okay? I am now a widow with 2 adult children and 4 grandchildren. In 1978, the combined McAreath family moved from Wasleys to farms in the southwest of Western Australia. We then moved to Bordertown in 1982 to a larger property known as Peebles on the Pine Hill North Road, north of Worsley. Over the past 40 years, I've been involved in the community in various voluntary capacities, including secretary of both the Primary School Parent Club and the Bordertown Civic Centre Management Committee and president of the Bordertown Squash Club. I returned to the workforce in 1989, firstly part-time with the Westpac Bank and then with 5TCB as Program Office Manager. This included working and training with about 40 volunteers. I've also volunteered as an on-air presenter at TCB for almost 30 years, ceasing just recently when COVID hit. In 2002, I commenced employment with the Tatiara District Council as Senior Tourism Officer and Manager of the Bordertown Visitor Information Centre, After it closed in 2015, I worked in the council office until my retirement the following year. My visitor centre role included welcoming visitors to the district, informing them of what to see and do, and encouraging them to stay. It also included many projects developed through the Tatiara Tourism Group, such as the Tatiara Visitor Guide, walking trails and tourism signage. Here I also trained and managed part-time staff and around 30 volunteers and maintained accreditation for the centre on a regular basis. Nowadays, I occasionally work at the Bordertown office of Hanson Print. In 2015, I was chair of the organising committee for the SA Rural Women's Gathering held here in Bordertown, which saw 280 women from around the state gather for 3 days, enjoying workshops, guest speakers and tours. This committee won the Australia Day Event of the Year in 2016. Currently, I'm in my 3rd term as president of the Rotary Club of Bordertown. Since joining Rotary in 2009, I've enjoyed many roles within the club over the years, including secretary and foundation director. My other current voluntary positions are secretary of the Bordertown Ladies Probus Club, tour coordinator for the Tatiara Garden Club, and a member of the Tatiara Anglican Church Council. In my spare time, I enjoy reading, Scrabble and puzzles, playing canasta, and walking my dog, a schmoodle called Ruby. With a background in tourism, I've learned a lot about the district, its history and its people. With this and an eclectic mix of interests, I have a broad knowledge of the Tatiara, and by becoming a councillor, I hope to assist in its positive development. I've always been welcomed and feel so much a part of the Tatiara district, and with my excellent communication skills and experience, I have a lot to offer. Particular local issues that concern me are the shortage of housing and lack of workers to fill all the available employment opportunities. The project closest to my heart is the development of a helipad and patient transfer station at the aerodrome. I aim to represent the entire community with commitment to maintaining fairness and understanding. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Chris. The speaker's up as loud as it will go, so I guess get the microphone as close to your mouth as you can when you talk. So thanks, Chris. Please welcome Kathy Langley to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you to the Tatiara District Council for the opportunity to speak tonight, and well done to all candidates on standing in the upcoming election. My name is Catherine Langley and I was born and bred in regional South Australia. I moved to the Tatiara 30 years ago due to a promotion in my work at the Bordertown branch of the Commonwealth Bank. I met and married local Ted, and we have 4 daughters, Kimberly, Grace, Alexandra and Claire, and we live on our property in Pine Hill. I help assist with the family business, family operations, family life and voluntary work in the community. Since I moved to the Tatiara, I have continued to be involved in community life, starting as a member of local sporting clubs and rural youth. When our daughters were young, I became involved with the local Australian Breastfeeding Association as a member, breastfeeding counsellor, and worked on the National Counselling Helpline, group leader, regional representative for the Limestone Coast, and South Australian Northern Territory branch grants coordinator. I was involved with Bordertown Kinder Gym as President, Secretary and Treasurer, Carol Murray Children's Centre, Bordertown Primary and Bordertown High School Councils, and was involved in coordinating the first Tatiara Parents, Babies and Children's Expo in 2003, where funding was sought from the federal government to have an expo here in the Civic Centre. It was an idea that proved very successful. From there, my voluntary roles continued with the Dolphin Swimming Club as President and Secretary and Committee Member, and more recently now Life Member. The Bordertown Netball Club on committee and as the President and Junior Development Chair. A major project was the upgrade of facilities, including a new court, resurface and lighting. I was involved in obtaining a state government grant and coordinating and implementing the project. I have also completed a diploma in rural business management and was involved in the committee of the South Australian Rural Women's Gathering held here in Bordertown. So, why local council? Well, I have a strong sense of community and understanding of living in the Tatiara. I'm very proud to live in the Tatiara and feel that I would like to continue to contribute to the community that has provided a great place for not only myself but my family to live in. I feel that I can help with the decision making and future of our district. My husband Ted served as a local Tatiara District Councillor for 5 years whilst our family were young, and I was very supportive of him at this time and showed a genuine interest in council matters. Since then, I was successful and elected as councillor in 2018. My first term has gone fast as I look back. I send a huge thank you to all the fellow elected members, staff and the community for their ongoing support. It has been rewarding. A lot has certainly happened in our council, and to mix in a global pandemic, the district is to be proud of what has been achieved. Okay, so why would you like to vote for me? It does take time to learn how the council operates with finance, policy and procedures, and I still feel I have more to learn. With a large amount of new candidates, I feel that it's important to have some stability by being there to help mentor the new candidates. I've learned that you don't have to know it all. The Tatiara District Council staff are great and are employed by the district's ratepayers, so us, and they are passionate and have the expertise to assist. I do not hesitate to ask a question when needed and ask for help. A no is okay, you just need to move on. Take small steps and be patient. I've served in local government now for 4 years. Apart from elected member duties, I'm chairperson of the Bordertown on the Move Committee, local government rep on the Bordertown Health Advisory Council and chairperson of the Tatiara SA Masters Games Regional Organising Committee. I was also on the committee to create and form the Disability Action and Inclusion Plan. I will continue to advocate for Tatiara Council's core business, including rates, the district road network and waste management, whilst progressing the Tatiara district into the future. My involvement with the implementation and formation of master and concept plans for Bordertown and Mandala sporting precincts and Bordertown Adventure Playground would see me continue to advocate and search for opportunities to support the district's community projects. I am proactive and will bring passion, commitment, an open mind and positive attitude if elected to council whilst being a voice for all residents. I will continue to bring a conservative, common sense approach to decision making whilst balance and equality is also very important. So thank you, and now it's your turn to shape the Tatiara's future and have a say and vote.
Thank you, Kathy. Now please welcome Linton McKenzie to the podium, please.
Welcome you all here, especially the people watching the live stream, and especially to that Carlton supporter up the back. My name's Linton McKenzie. I came here to the Tatiara in the 1980s to work for local transport company McCarthy Transport. Jack, Kay, Debbie and Davin welcomed me into their lives, as did the wider Tatiara community. It always felt like home from the minute I got here, and it still does today. I bought my first truck in 1983. 11 months later, into my career as an owner-driver and a businessman, I burned it to the ground in a paddock at Meningie. I thought that was it for me until John Jenkins entered my house, picked me up, took me to Adelaide and had a look at the truck and said, we can rebuild this. 30 days later, John working 16 hours a day with a couple of mates that gave up their jobs to help me out. We drove that truck out of his shed in 5 weeks and I was back in business. And I honestly don't believe that I'd be standing here today if it wasn't for their efforts on my behalf. So I'm forever in John's debt. Fast forward 35 years, we sold the business. We were employing over 400 people at the time. We were warehousing, containerising, exporting 85% of South Australians' wines. 80% of South Australians' meat, and along with the hay and grain customers we had, we were the largest landside logistics business into the Port of Adelaide. Now, the purpose of me telling you this story is not to pump my own tyres, but it's to have you have the understanding of what the Tatiara means to me. I married here. I married a local girl, born and bred in the Tatiara, Kay Kruger. We had 3 fantastic kids most of the time, Lloyd, Meg and Tom, and they still call the Tatiara home and get back here every chance they get. I want you to understand the deep connections I have to the Tatiara, everything I am, everything that I have and everything that I become is inextricably linked to the Tatiara in some way or form. This is the reason why I'm running for council. It's just that foremost I want to give back, but more importantly, it is whatever I can do to ensure that the Tatiara remains the district of opportunity, the opportunity that it gave me. I believe that Tatiara is built on 5 pillars. Firstly, business, which I'm passionate about, creates jobs, opportunity and creates wealth for the community, of course. And we must facilitate the businesses we have here. We're lucky. We're lucky to have what we've got. And we need to open the doors and make it easy for anyone that wants to call the Tatiara home. Livability is a second pillar. You know, our utilities, power, water, healthcare, aged care, childcare, schooling, parks, it's town aesthetics. They're all pieces of the jigsaw which frame a livable, functional, safe and happy community. Third pillar of strength for me is the sports, recreation, entertainment. You know, that's the glue in the fabric that holds all communities together. And engaging individuals and families alike creates a healthy and happy lifestyle. It's good for our mental health and our physical health. And we must ensure that we, where possible, continue to support the organisations and their facilities across the district. Fourthly, business, an important pillar. You, the ratepayers, are our customers, are the council's customers, and they expect responsible management of their money. I'm not one for short-term fixes or short-term or Band-Aid fixes. I look at the long term. I think whatever we do, whatever we spend, we must be looking 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the track that we get the benefit of what our decisions are. Fifthly, of course, it's been mentioned tonight, the 3 R's, rates, roads and rubbish. That's the core function of this council. We're a council of some 6,500 square kilometres, one of the largest councils in the state. So it's a big job and it's one that we need to keep the focus on. In closing, I'd like to thank Mayor Exel for his time as the Mayor and all the outgoing councillors for their stellar jobs that they've done for this community. Not all of us are going to be, I want to congratulate all the other nominees as well. Not all of us are going to be elected, such as a democratic process. Some of us are going to miss out, but should I be one of them, I'll be walking out of here with my head held high and proud that I wanted to give back to the good country, our Tatiara. Thank you.
Thanks, Linton. Please welcome to the podium, Clary Martin.
Good evening. I'm Clary Martin and I was born and bred in this district. I'm mostly known in the Keith area and in the Tatiara hockey world. I pretty much say that my mum and my dad were from 2 of the founding families of Keith. And you could say to people, if I'm not related to you, look out, I have a cousin that's about to marry into yours. After completing my schooling at Keith Area School, I began my life's career as a hairdresser in Keith. I've been running my own salon business for about 21 years, currently on my 6th year on my own premises at Mint Salon. For the last 15 years, I have also worked in partnership with my husband, Robert, also known as Reggie, at Tatiara Engineering in Keith's Industrial Estate. My later years of high school saw me develop a knack for chatting, volunteering, and a strong calling for the arts, from DJing my own radio programs on 5TCB, immersing myself in drama and hockey, and then on to hairdressing. These paths have only fueled my passion to help people through my strong voice, good ears, and strong organisation skills, problem-solving mind and my creative hands. If you haven't seen me on stage yet, well, after this gathering, I'll be scooting back to Keith Theatre Group's last Tuesday night rehearsal for this week's opening of Gunshots and Blossom. I enjoy the comedic roles the most. Some of you may have met a strange character, Marty Moocher, at the Relay for Life murder mystery night the other month. It was great fun joining Bordertown's alternative fundraising idea. I'm a strong community member who has a can-do, will-do, it's done personality. I'm always happy to step up and take on roles like President, Secretary, Treasurer, or even the dreaded umpire or coach. Often working on our governance policies, constitution and management modelling to help streamline groups' functioning. There are not many groups that I'm not involved yet. My greatest achievement, other than my beautiful family, husband Robert, my adult children, 21-year-old Zach and 18-year-old twins Austin and Abby Martin, was to be recognised for my community spirit in receiving Tatiara's 2021 Citizen of the Year Award. My many years on the Tatiara District Council's Keith Urban Development Committee has pointed me towards wanting to join council and support our district to grow. Through these committees, I have particularly enjoyed working with the children, teachers and Lighthouse Youth Group in pursuing a pump track at Keith's Skate Park. I have an understanding and can see the perspective of both rural and regional town-based issues within our community, as I've been brought up in both environments. Over the last decade, I have seen a swing in lack of not only housing and workers, but also volunteers. The same people holding things together. The cost of living and the city-centric health systems are pushing hard on our communities, resources and infrastructure. I'm a big believer in building better facilities and programs that can share and utilise together. Not losing groups' DNA, but sharing the escalating maintenance costs and insurances, leaving more time and money for enjoying our group's functions. Better facilities and equipment so we can enjoy more with our residents. Let's keep working on attracting and keeping our youth and aged population in our fabulous district. Build better facilities, stronger businesses, supportive health networks will only lead to an economic growth. I'm proud to see our district thrive in businesses, farming and sport. I would like to see more community inclusion and transparency, but also ensure our chamber is a safe place for all elected members to feel supported so they can advocate on your behalf. It would be nice to see all of Tatiara's communities represented in our council's future. The recent council has proved this with a great array of district members, and we're coming into a council that is very strong. I'm always happy to chat and listen to issues that are important to you. Let me be your representative and make better outcomes. I'm not good at a quick chat, as I'm interested in hearing people's passions and problems. Just remember, I'm not a doctor. I wish I was, as I know we're short of them too. So I'll end now with my life's motto: look after the old and engage the youth. Vote Clary number 1, as I'm after preserving and supporting our district. Thank you.
Thank you, Clary. Please welcome Richard Halliday to the podium, please.
Thank you, Tony. Welcome, everybody. Yes, I am Richard Halliday. I live with my wife and, in the past, all our 3 children, Sarah, Angus and Thomas, up on the Narcat Highway, so to the north of the area. All our children were schooled locally at the primary school and the high school. And I spent a term there as chairman of the governing council of the primary school whilst they were there. I arrived in the Tatiara in '77 myself and was schooled in Bordertown. So growing up in the area, I played many sports across the whole area and spent quite a bit of time shearing lots of different people's sheep. So I had a wide array of the area and still have contact with all the people across that whole area, which I think is important for us as potential councillors to be, you know, aware of the issues the whole area has. It's not just one spot. I was always involved in the community as a younger person, from rural youth to show societies, to sheep breeding committees, the governing council, as I said, and currently I'm part of the Bordertown Health Advisory Council and a member of the Rotary Club and a past president. I've always been comfortable to put my hand up and help the community because I'm a big believer in you always get paid back more than you ever put in. Now, over the last 10 years, I've been missing a bit in this community because I took the chance to be involved in the SAF Livestock Committee in Adelaide before SAF folded, which left us in a procurement of an industry with no leadership or no organisation to cover for them. So with the help of Dean Crabb, we invented Livestock SA, which now, excuse me, covers the whole state with some 3,500 members, which was, you know, really pleasing that, you know, there's a voice that we've created that will represent the whole of the state. From there, I actually had the opportunity to move on to Wool Producers Australia as a director, and then moved into the chair of that organisation, which was great. You know, all of a sudden you're representing, on them days I think it was 38,500 wool growers across Australia, had access to you about any issue, and I rest assured in that 5 years there was a lot of issues that come ringing. In that time I was lucky to be involved in the Australian Wool Exchange, which moves all the wool through the market system and out of the country as a director, and also sat as a director on the Australian Wool Testing Authority. Currently I'm still involved in the Tatiara Water Action Plan, which we hope to close off on. David Edwards is smiling. We're going to get there. And I've also volunteered as an independent chair for the Far North Wells in South Australia. We're actually monitoring how much water is actually going out of the Artesian Basin through agriculture, tourism, everything. So just to get, they asked me if I'd like to, and I thought that was a great opportunity. These organisations have taught me the keys to, I think, which will help through local government, and they are governance, accountability, transparency and consultation. In any which order, but they've all got to be taken care of. And in those organisations, they are all member-based and all levy-based, and you're answerable to state and federal government at the same time. So, you know, we would have to sit in front of set of estimates at times and explain what we were doing. Always thought I'd one day like to have a crack at local government, and I just thought now I was back home full time, and our middle child Angus has come home to work with me. I'll put my hand up and give it a go. I've learned a lot of skills externally that I feel I can deliver to this role and to the district. It's an amazing part to be part of a relatively new group of councillors, and as you've heard so far, all with passion and enthusiasm for our district, so it will be well represented. We're a growing district in population and productivity, and we are very diverse. All the issues have been highlighted around housing, health, infrastructure. They are the keys to our success as a district. But remembering our district is built on primary production and will thrive on primary production. But we have to be open to emerging opportunities. Now, we need to keep our eyes open to what's coming and make responsible and informed decisions so as not impact or burden the next generation who will benefit the whole district. As mentioned earlier, the governance, accountability and transparency and consultation are the cornerstones of what I've learnt away, and I feel this puts me in a good position to, you know, to look to your vote and to actually go forward and help our district. I understand strategic planning. We put together a 2030 wool industry plan, which has now come to light. So we need short-term goals, but we need long-term targets that will actually set our district up for years to come. So thank you very much, and all the best to everyone.
Thanks, Richard. Please welcome to the podium Tiffany Golding. Thanks.
Thanks, Tony. Good evening. Thank you for coming, and hello to those watching on the live stream. Most of you may know me, but for those of you who don't, I was raised in the local district and completed my junior and senior schooling here in Bordertown. I have lived in the local area all of my life, and I've also had the pleasure in raising my daughter Zara in the local community. I will be a voice for the younger generation, our future, because we need to keep them in our community long term. I will be giving members of our district someone that they see out and about, active in our community, whether that be on the hockey oval or on the basketball court that they can approach. I am president of the Bordertown Spring Festival and Show. This is my first year in this position since being involved with the show when I started organising the speed cheer in 2017. This year we have done some restructuring and made some changes, which has been very rewarding so far and is shaping up to be a great show. I hope to see you all there enjoying this all-inclusive community event on Saturday, November 12th. I am playing member of the Bordertown Hockey Club. I have previously held executive roles within the club. I enjoy helping to assist those taking on new roles where they may be lacking in experience to make sure that they are supported, able to fill positions, share the workloads and encourage involvement. Zara plays netball for Bordertown Netball Club and we both play basketball for the Bordertown and District Basketball Association. I am member and grants officer for the Bordertown Speedway Club. I am currently preparing an application for their current funding program, Community Recreation and Sports Facility Program, that closes on December 9th. I'm a member of 5TCB and I present the Saturday morning sporting grill, covering all of our winter sports. We interview local and high-profile players and sporting personnel. This involves researching and keeping up to date with local results, promoting sports and participation. My career over the past 14 years has been full-time in a senior management position for a local horticulture and agriculture business. I hold qualifications in finance, business management and quality assurance. This sees me communicating daily with people across varying demographics, business professionals, staff, migrants, fellow volunteers and across all age groups. My ability to break down situations to make sure everyone is treated equally and fairly and given the same opportunities is a quality I am proud of and it makes me who I am. I read the council meeting minutes every month. I read the decisions being made, but I want to know the discussions being had for the basis of the decision making. Whilst I don't expect to change the world, I would like to be heard and ensure that all facets of issues are being addressed. I like to read the fine print with a strong eye for detail, and I need to know what is going on and why. I know how to source information, sift through it, and extract the information that matters most. Whilst time-consuming, I am passionate about the details. Not only are we challenged with keeping the youth in our community, I'd like to see accommodation options in our district continue to be expanded on both short and long term. Being in the position of needing to employ staff for short-term, time-sensitive harvest operations, I've experienced firsthand the issues faced with accommodation shortages and the strain that it puts on employers while trying to fill positions and business continuity. We need to support our local businesses by making sure the facilities and opportunities in our district make staff and potential staff want to live, work and stay in the Tatiara. I am passionate about this region, the growth of our region and creating opportunities for future generations. Please vote 1, Tiffany Golding.
Thanks, Tiffany. Please welcome Deb Brown to the podium.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for coming tonight and taking an interest in the upcoming elections. I was born and raised in Adelaide and moved to Padthaway 25 years ago, so I'm not really a local yet. We moved back onto my husband's family farm where we've developed vineyards and small seed production as well as expanding into the boutique wine industry. When we first moved to Padthaway, I worked at Stonehaven Winery and then worked as finance officer at Padthaway Primary School for several years before leaving to become more involved in our business. Being a city girl moving to the country, I've been able to recognise the unique needs and challenges of rural communities, making me very aware of how we need to respond and adapt going into the future. Raising my 3 children here, I've realised the importance of excellent schools, sporting clubs, medical facilities and social facilities in small towns, and the need to provide a vibrant and thriving environment for country residents to enjoy living in. I'm a strong believer in volunteering, and over the years I've served on many sporting, school, community and church committees and have helped organise and run various community events. I'm currently president of the Pathway Progress Association, and I love being able to work towards creating a vibrant and thriving environment for our residents to enjoy living in. The areas I'm passionate about revolve around the factors that I see as important in making this happen: housing availability and affordability, healthcare services, particularly for our older population, childcare and education, and ensuring sporting and community facilities are maintained and replaced in years to come. All these factors are important and are really intertwined with each other. It's important for our towns to be able to attract workers, as the Tatiara provides amazing work opportunities in a vast range of industries. Having a large population has a positive effect on the whole community, bringing more students to our schools, more participants in our sporting clubs and volunteers in our community groups, and also bringing the passions and creative skills of new residents to improve the culture of our towns. A major part of this is housing, and while this is an Australia-wide issue, I do feel that within the Tatiara we have the ability to open up more housing areas to provide long and short-term accommodation for residents. I have so many people say that they could employ many more workers if only they had the houses for them. So this is extremely important for the long-term economic development of the Tatiara. Childcare is another major issue confronting our workforce, so we need to look at increasing current services and developing new ones within our area. We have excellent schools within the Tatiara, so we need to work hard to ensure their survival and viability into the future. Young families need these services, and they have a flow-on effect with subject choices, career options and access to technology. Our communities also depend on access to good sporting and community facilities, as these improve much more than our physical health. They give us a sense of belonging, which can improve residents' mental health and provide social networks in which they can thrive. One of our major concerns going forward in the Tatiara is our access to adequate health services. For the elderly residents of the Tatiara, they need reassurance that medical care is available when needed, particularly with access to specialist care. And it's vital to have services which help them stay in their own homes and communities for as long as they can. For residents of the smaller towns, a move into a care facility is not only an upheaval, but also means leaving behind the community they've always lived in. So it's important to keep them in their own homes as a benefit to both their physical and mental health. For everyone else, we need to know that our families will be able to access medical care, particularly in an emergency, and we need to grow services which reduce the amount of long distance travel, especially with the cost of fuel at the moment. I feel very passionately that no one should be disadvantaged by living in the country, so it is important for us as a council to support the growth and development of our district as much as we can, while still maintaining the country lifestyle we all cherish. While I have a particular interest in the needs and challenges facing the smaller towns of the Tatiara, I feel that by serving on council I can work hard to ensure that we maintain these important resources for all towns in the years to come. Through serving on many committees and community groups over the years, I've developed a good relationship with people and a good connection with the various community associations. If I get the chance to serve on council, I'm looking forward to strengthening and creating new relationships with people from all over the district and being able to advocate for their needs and visions for the future of the Tatiara. I think it's an exciting time to be part of council as this wonderful part of the country grows and develops into an even better place to work, live and raise our families. Thank you.
Thanks, Deb. Please welcome Linda Anderson to the podium.
Thank you, Tony. I'd just like to tell you about myself and why I want to be on council. I was raised in Mundalla, educated in Mundalla, and now live in Mundalla with my family. I've worked in Bordertown and Keith for most of my working life. I left the district to travel extensively for 6 years, returning with a husband and 3 children to settle in Mundalla and run our own business. Mick and I established our business base at the Bordertown Industrial Estate in 2004. and for the past 4 years we've been busy creating a new innovative hemp business. I also work part-time at the Keith Area School supporting students with disabilities. Since beginning my working career in 1986, I have worked in hospitality, healthcare, horticulture, transport, construction, intensive farming, aged care, food and the education sectors of the Tatiara district. I've volunteered with different sporting groups in the Tatiara, those being hockey, tennis, basketball, swimming and little athletics. I've coached different sporting groups. We've hosted 7 exchange students from AFS in our home. I've served Meals on Wheels to our elderly citizens. I've contributed to the Mundalla Show Society as ambassador, a trade site convener, entertainment coordinator, secretary and president. I've led the South Australian Rural Women's Gathering in 2002 in the Barossa Valley. I've served on the Mundalla Primary School Governing Council as a councillor and a chairperson. I've coordinated fundraising and new equipment for the Mundalla Community Playground and volunteered for Hockey SA as an official. And recently, in the past 2 years, have raised $50,000 in a small bash car team for Variety South Australia. When I left school, I joined South Australian Rural Youth with the Mundalla Club. All of my friends had left school and left the district for university and life beyond the Tatiara. I stayed, and Rural Youth was an opening to join other young people in the district in socialising. Rural Youth taught me leadership skills, meeting procedures, social skills and event coordinating skills. It gave me wonderful opportunities at club, state, national and international level. I represented the South East as part of the state executive. I then became Vice President of South Australian Rural Youth, and I then moved on to become Vice President of the Australian Rural Youth. I was then fortunate to be the Australian exchangee to the UK in 1995 for 6 months. The grounding that Rural Youth gave me was to be self-motivated, be confident in yourself, that everyone is equal, be proud of where you come from, to make things happen and don't sit back and watch others. It taught me great leadership, meeting and organisational skills, and this has led me to many leadership positions within our community. Throughout my employment, I've gained skills in finance and became a qualified bookkeeper. I've gained an understanding of sustainability and good economic decision making. I've learnt compassion and understanding of people. I understand that working as a team achieves great outcomes. So why nominate as a councillor? For the first time in my life, last year and this year, I'm not holding any volunteer positions. I've said no. Our children have grown and they're self-managed. I'm passionate about our district, the people and the future. I have time to give back to our community. I have the skills to represent the people, you, of the Tatiara. I'm happy with the decisions that previous councillors have made, and I'm now happy to put my hand up. I want the best for a thriving, progressive Tatiara community. I work well with others. I'm honest, approachable, community-minded person. Our district is the best place to live, work and play. Together, all of us, let's keep it that way.
Thanks, Linda, and please welcome Miles Hanneman to the podium. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I hope I could read my notes because I've been adding to them all night. Well, I see all these people here, and it just makes me think that thank you for showing such a great interest in the Tatiara. We've had a lot of meetings along the way in the 8 years that I've been a councillor, and we'd be lucky to get 10 people here. So to see you here means you've obviously got a great interest in the Tatiara. A bit about me. I was born in Keith Hospital in 1958. I went to school in Keith, then I went to school in Adelaide, then I came home and worked for my father and on a family farm. Then I went off to uni to do farm management, and then I came back and took over the family farm. Like Linda, I was involved with Rural Youth, which I think was an amazing thing, which gave us leadership. I did the South Australian Leadership course in 2000, finished in year 2000. I did ambulance for 11 years, SES, one of the fun things in my life is I got my pilot's licence. I was brought up by my mother to have this saying that if you don't think it was right, change it. So I put my name up for council 8 years ago and I became a councillor. But when I got into council, I realised not a lot needed to be changed. It was well run, it was providing the service to the community, and it was also being very wise with the way we were spending the community's money. And 8 years later, it's still been well run. We're still spending the money very wisely, and with growing the Tatiara at, I'll call it, manageable rate. We're not going too fast, we're not going too slow, but we're doing it within our means. One of the things going around the district is the lack of, there's been such a turnover of new councillors. I think that's fantastic. We're going to have some new brains which will be looking at problems or issues or advancing the community in a different light than what we have been looking at them. And I think that's just fantastic that, well, we could potentially have 9 new councillors. I hope not, because that means I'm out. But I think it's great. And a little story, I've got my son that's home. He's going to take over the farm in 4 years' time, and I'm just looking at him thinking, he's going to run this place completely different than me, but I know it's going to be great. So it's fantastic we've got all these new brains coming in. I did an interview on 5TCB, and one of the things I mentioned there was about fire protection. All the staff would be going, oh, he's bringing that up again. But we're a very proactive council. No, we're sometimes a bit reactive, but I think we're going to be a bit more proactive on fire prevention. And as you see in the floods in the Riverland in Redmark, they had a levee bank that they knew needed replacing, but now it's too late. So it's a great council, and it's going to be fantastic with the new people. On a closing note, because we've talked about housing, we've talked about getting people to work in the Tatiara and what such a great place it is. But the new councillors will go into an organisation called the Tatiara District Council that's been well run. Its integrity is very high, and that's to do with me, it's to do with the people that are leaving, and it's it's just a result of the way it's been so well managed over the years. And one of the things that I think I've enjoyed about being in a council is that I've always been contactable, and I will continue that. I'll promise to everyone, you can ring me, and obviously within the, how do you say it? Sometimes we can't talk about it, but we'll let you know why we can't talk about it, because some things are made on commercial decisions, and we just can't tell everyone why we do things, but you just got to trust us. We're doing it the correct way. But I think council's a bit like an antique. You never really own it, but you just look after it for the next person, and that's what we've done. And we're handing over a great organisation, and I hope you enjoy the work we do for you. And I'll vote Miles, please. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Miles. So there's an opportunity now to mix and meet the candidates face to face. I think there's some refreshments being served around the corner. Just before you do that, just 3 observations. First one is, it's actually quite a difficult thing to stand up in front of your community, your peers, your friends, your family, not just the people here, but people out in the world of the internet, and present yourself and sell yourself. I think everyone has done a fantastic job, and please join me in congratulating them for their success. The second thing I'd like to say is just acknowledge Graham Exell as the outgoing mayor. Now, I don't know much about Graham as the mayor of Tatiara, but I do know a lot about him as a director of the Limestone Coast Local Government Association, where he's made a significant contribution in the 3 years I've been there. So thanks, Graham, for your service. And then probably the most important point of the whole night. As a rabid Collingwood supporter, I'm really worried about that Carlton supporter that's lurking out the back there. So we'd better finish up now and go and have some refreshments. Thanks for your patience and your attendance tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.